Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the southeast this Wednesday evening. The crimes of David Fuller, her daughter's fight for a full judge-led inquiry into how he was able to carry out abuse in a hospital mortuary is rejected.
Any news about the visa?
Desperate to get their son to England, the couple from Sussex who say a hold-up in documents has left him and his family stranded in Poland.
Makes me feel destroyed and frustrated and just unbearable.
Weighed down by debts of £20,000. The charity that helped David get his finances in order and his life back.
There is hope and there is help. Don't struggle alone.
Seek help. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
And the playground that's been turned into a sheep pen. We meet the fluffy new classmates helping school children learn about farming. Good evening. An attempt backed by 3 law firms to take the government to court over its response to the abuse by David Fuller of bodies in hospital mortuaries in Kent has failed.
The judicial review application was led by Amanda Meir, whose mother Sonia was among the more than 100 female victims at Tunbridge Wells Hospital.
Our reporter Chloe Oliver has been looking into the latest developments for us and joins us from our newsroom. Chloe, first of all, why was this legal action started in the first place?
Well, Matt, many of the families whose loved ones were abused by David Fuller during his time working in the hospital maintenance department were unhappy with the inquiry ordered by ministers after his crimes were discovered by detectives last year. It was, after all, officers investigating 2 unsolved murders who found thousands of appalling photos and videos at Fuller's home of him abusing corpses in the mortuaries at Tunbridge Wells Hospital. The Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, announced an inquiry, but it was the powers that investigation had which many were unhappy with. Among them, Amanda Meir, whose mother Sonia died in 2018 and was among Fuller's victims. She wanted a full judge-led public inquiry with the power to call witnesses and with sessions held in public. That's why she was the lead applicant on the application for a judicial review.
We want to be listened to, we want evidence put forward, we want witnesses called, we want it to be judge-led. We want to make sure that this is done fairly for all the families involved in this.
Chloe, what next for the families?
They've been refused permission at the High Court to bring that judicial review, and many are extremely unhappy with how the independent inquiry had progressed to date, and the fact that the chairman of that inquiry, Sir Jonathan Michael, is a former NHS manager. But it seems like there's little chance now of the government being forced to change the nature of that inquiry through the courts. Whether ministers decide to make some changes anyway in response to what some of the victims of the families are saying remains a possibility. The ongoing independent inquiry is due to publish its first report into exactly how David Fuller was able to get away with his appalling crimes at Tunbridge Wells Hospital for so long later this year. And a spokesman for the inquiry told us tonight that they have no comment to make on the latest legal developments.
OK, Chloe, for now, thank you very much indeed. In other news, 1 man has died and 2 other men have been seriously injured after a crash on the A21 near Robertsbridge in the early hours of this morning. 2 fire engines and an air ambulance were sent to a car that had left the carriageway at Silverhill. A 19-year-old man from Essex, who was a passenger, was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 20-year-old men from London were arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving and remain in police custody.
Anyone who witnessed a crash between a bus and a car in East Sussex yesterday is being asked to help police with their investigation. A woman in her 30s had to be cut out of her car following the collision along New Haven Road in Rodmell. She was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Officers are also appealing for anyone with dashcam footage to get in touch.
There have been chaotic scenes on the M20 with coastbound traffic sent off at Junction 8. It's because Operation Brock, designed to hold thousands of lorries queuing for Dover, is full. Limited ferry capacity at Dover, with P&O services suspended, has caused a huge backlog of freight.
A couple from Sussex say they're desperately trying to get their son and his family to England after they fled Ukraine at the start of the war. But a hold-up with their travel documents means they are still stuck in Poland.
Rick and Marina Marsh from Hailsham say some of the forms needed have been signed off by the Home Office, others, though, haven't. It means the family is in limbo. It's a double blow for them. Their other son was unable to leave Ukraine before martial law was implemented. Tom Savides takes up the story.
Anton, any news about the visa?
No, I haven't any news about the visa. I've sent my application maybe more than 2 weeks ago.
I've written to the Home Office. I've written to my local MPs.
Rick and Marina Marsh are desperate to get their son Anton and his young family to Helsham.
We're actually very upset as well about this situation.
They fled to Poland after the Russian invasion of Ukraine started on the 24th of February. They applied for UK travel documents on the 18th of March. Anton's wife and one of his daughters have their visas. He and his other daughter don't.
You should be here with us.
The frustration of Mr. and Mrs. Marsh is hard to hide.
Makes me feel destroyed and frustrated and just unbearable, and we're not getting anything. And it just nowhere to go, nowhere to knock the door, and nobody can change anything, and nobody telling us what's happening.
Why is it important for you that your son Anton comes to the UK?
Because he is my son. We are the family. They don't have family in Poland. They can't go back to Ukraine, into the war zone. No, they have to be here, and they want to be here.
We've been out and bought bunk beds and bedding, and we're ready for them. You know, I've got a good pension. I don't need anything from the state at all.
The Home Office told ITV News Meridian, "We are moving as quickly as possible to ensure that those fleeing Ukraine can find safety in the UK through the Ukraine Family Scheme and Homes for Ukraine. We have streamlined the process so valid passport holders do not have to attend in-person appointments before arriving in the UK." Obviously you're a British citizen now, but when you see what's going on in your home country, how does that make you feel?
Very, very, very painful. Because I've been there in Kharkiv in December, and I seen beautiful city, but it's ruined.
The delay is a double blow for Rick and Marina Marsh, whose other son Sasha and his family are stuck in war-torn Kharkiv, unable to leave Ukraine. A war that is taking its toll on millions in Eastern Europe and their families back in the UK. Tom Savides, ITV News, Helsham.
Talks to end a bin strike in Worthing and Ada have resumed today. The walkout by the GMB union is now in its 4th week, with members arguing for better pay. Rubbish has been piling up in some areas. The council has been bringing in private contractors to clear it and says it's working hard to resolve the dispute.
From today, patients who have routine blood tests at the Royal Sussex County Hospital's emergency department will be screened for HIV. The change at the hospital in Brighton is to improve early diagnosis of the virus. Anyone can choose to opt out of the screening if they wish.
Spring booster jabs are now being offered to help fight the most recent wave of COVID-19 infections. Chemist Pharmacy to You in Maidstone is among those helping the NHS to deliver the jabs, with walk-in sessions also taking place at supermarkets and at St Peter's Church in Brighton tomorrow.
Now you're watching ITV News in the Meridian region. Coming up on the programme, as part of our cost of living series, we have some tips and advice from a financial expert.
And from mucking out to mucking in, the Loan a Lamb scheme that's giving school children an insight into a career in farming.
And you can find out more on all of our stories today, of course, on our website. itv.com/Meridian is the address you need to go to. Contact details on the screen as well, and don't forget, of course, to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.
Some P&O Ferries customers say they have been refused refunds for cancelling their bookings, despite the company making a pledge to issue them on its website. The company's ships remain moored in Dover almost 3 weeks after the sacking of 800 staff. Some who had been due to travel say they can't get their money back until the crossings themselves are cancelled. P&O insists it is providing refunds, and for those who have struggled with disruption, free trips will be issued for later in the year.
EasyJet has cancelled at least 30 flights to or from Gatwick today. It's the 3rd day of disruption for travellers, as the airline struggles with staff sickness because of COVID. Among the routes affected are Amsterdam, Krakow, Bologna and Berlin. The head of the pilots' union, BALPA, has warned of more problems at the airport throughout the summer. It says that carriers have not yet rehired enough staff following the pandemic to cope with the recovery in passenger demand.
Trains and Network Rail has announced a major series of engineering works to be carried out over the Easter holiday. Gatwick Express services will not run to allow for work to take place on the Brighton line, with trains between East Croydon and Victoria also not running. In Kent, a major project is taking place at Tunbridge to improve services on the Hastings line. Network Rail says it is the best time to do the work.
It may seem a little bit odd that we're doing these works over Easter while we're welcoming passengers back to the railway, but these are crucial projects that will improve reliability on the railway and mean fewer delays for now and for many years to come. As people will understand, Easter is a key time for us to deliver our engineering projects, so as always, we're encouraging passengers to check before you travel.
Now, this week, we've been looking in detail at how rapidly rising prices are affecting all of us and talking to people struggling to make ends meet who are worried about the future. Some have already had to make hard choices about where to spend what money they do have.
Well, in a moment, we'll be speaking to a financial expert in Gravesend about advice and solutions to manage finances. But first, Derek Johnson has been to visit some organisations helping people cope with the rising cost of living.
Great to see you today.
David Boyle sought help from charity Christians Against Poverty when he fell badly in debt. He'd lost his job as a lorry driver. Before he knew it, he owed £20,000, much of it to a lender.
They kept on adding interest and interest and interest to the repayments, and all I was paying off was the interest. I wasn't actually paying off the loan. It affected my health. I mean, the worry and the stress. I mean, I actually lost the ability to talk. I couldn't speak.
David became debt-free after advisors here contacted creditors and put him on a repayment plan. Catherine Ford, a manager here, says the charity is seeing a big rise in the number of people seeking advice.
We've already had a 47% increase in the first 2 months of this year compared to the first 2 months of the previous year in 21. So we're already seeing that increase, yeah. A lot of the time there's circumstances outside of people's control. Things have happened. They have to make the choice between putting money on the electric meter and putting food on the table for the children.
Even if it's getting on top of you and you're badly in debt, there is hope, is there?
There is hope and there is help. Don't struggle alone.
Seek help. Go to anywhere. Seek help. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Many fear sky-high energy bills could prove to be a tipping point. The Energy Saving Trust says a lot of money can be saved just by using electricity and hot water more wisely, say by turning the thermostat down by 1 degree.
And then there's using appliances efficiently, like waiting till the dishwasher or the washing machine is full before you run it. Running at a eco setting or washing at a low temperature, not putting too much water in the kettle, just boiling the amount you need. All those things, they all save a small amount and they all add up, could save you a couple £100 a year maybe.
Thank you. I always find what I need. I don't know what I want for it.
Audrey Ansell has found one way to reduce her weekly shopping bill. She's come to this community larder. Here you can buy 10 items for £3 or 20 for £6.
I come here because I get a good collection of food. I live in sheltered housing and I do coffee mornings and everything, so I buy biscuits and that for the coffee morning. And yeah, it's lovely.
£3 shop. Lovely. That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Anyone who lives locally can shop here once a week after they become a member.
Lots of people working hard, got good jobs, etc., but are still, finding things tough financially. So this is a way of all of us being able to make the best use of our limited resources.
This was set up in a former bowling pavilion that had previously been vandalised. Larders are not food banks, they're community hubs, selling surplus food from supermarkets with an emphasis on choice and saving money.
Instead of getting a 10-item bag, say, from a food bank that is just tins, you've obviously got fresh items, we've got fresh fruit, fresh veg, we've got things in the chiller, the freezer, and it's giving people that independence, that autonomy, that they can actually make a choice in their life and at a reduced cost, so they're not spending lots and lots of money in the supermarkets, but they're still helping the community, helping prevent food waste.
Derek Johnson, ITV News.
Well, you can find more information on some of the charities and organisations featured in that report, as well as details on community larders near you on our website. The address, as ever, itv.com/Meridian.
I'm pleased to say joining me now from Gravesend is Meridian Ajay. Meridian, thank you for talking to us. Now, you're an accountant by profession and you've also founded a social enterprise called Career Nuggets. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first of all, we've been hearing so many stories of people who are really struggling with their rising bills. What advice do you have for them?
The first thing I would really say is about understanding what you earn and what you spend. So this is about budgeting. Have a clear understanding of what money you can bring in from the different streams, if it's one or two, and how you spend it. Or have a detailed understanding of your expenditure. Switch providers where you can. Just assess whether you're paying for what you really need.
Meridian, I think lots of people watching this will think, well, I've already done that. What else can they do if money is so tight? I mean, what can they think about? Maybe retraining, new jobs, careers?
Yes, so other practical things you could do to increase your earning is you can consider retraining. But the first starting point would be consider the skills you currently have. It's a good starting point, and see where you can transfer that into another area where you can increase the earning for the same skills. Or you might want to upskill yourself. Upskilling means add more skills to yourself, make yourself more marketable, or retrain entirely. And there are other fields out there. So the key thing is speak to a career mentor, speak to get a sponsor in your workplace, or a career advisor that can give you other options to consider so that you can earn more for what you currently have in terms of your skill set.
And talking about retraining, there is lots of free advice online out there, is there?
Oh yes, there are quite a few. I'll mention there's Coursera, there's free courses online, and there's Udemy. And these different platforms offer free training. And in this era that we're in, which is the digital era, you can get a lot of free training because that's one key skill people need to have to make themselves marketable.
So don't limit your skill set, that's what you're saying. There's lots of opportunities out there.
There are lots of opportunities out there, don't limit your skill set, yes.
Meridian Ajay, pleasure speaking to you, thank you.
Well, some really good practical advice there. And on tomorrow night's programme, as we tighten our belts, we'll be looking at how we can all make savings on our food bills.
Loads of fresh fruit and veg. So we have some grapes, we have cucumber, we have broccoli, there's a leek.
We'll be meeting the family of four who know every trick in the book and find out exactly how they managed to cut their weekly food shop from £100 a week to just £30. Join us for that here tomorrow.
Well, in Eastbourne today, a group of volunteers dropped off more than 1,000 Easter eggs to a food bank. They'll go to children who may otherwise go without over the holidays. As well as eggs, there were knitted goods too.
Everyone should feel valued, and I think everyone deserves to have that feeling of fun and luxury. I don't think it should just be people that can afford it. So that's what this will bring. And our client numbers have gone up by 78% since this time last year. So we are really, really struggling to provide food for people. Our stocks are really low, as you can see, so any support that we can get from everyone is really valued.
What a lovely thing to do. The ITV Evening News continues here at 6:30 with the details. Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the programme, the double hit from the national insurance rise to help fund social care. Today's increase affects both employees and businesses, but it could well lead to price rises, as well as reducing pay packets. Also had a special report on the backlog of kitchen inspections. Just how clean is your local takeaway? Plus, the song that Ed Sheeran didn't steal. The star wins his copyright case and condemns what he calls a damaging claim culture.
Hopefully we can all get back to writing songs rather than having to prove that we can write them.
Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, how do you encourage young people to consider a career in farming? Well, at 5 primary schools in the southeast, they've swapped pencils and textbooks for wellies and overalls as part of a project called Loan a Lamb.
And it's seen teachers and pupils caring for Ewe and her offspring for a whole week, all in the hope of opening their eyes to the possibilities of a future career in agriculture. Here's Kit Bradshaw.
They say every day's a school day, and this one is unlikely to be forgotten in a hurry.
Who can remember what a mum sheep was known as? Flossie? You.
Because the classroom is actually a sheep pen, as these children get to meet their school's new woolly residents.
They fed them, they have mucked them out, they have made sure they've got water, but actually for some of these children, even though it's a village school, they haven't been this close. We've got sheep in fields, but not to actually touch them, so it's been amazing.
The Loner Lamb scheme has seen farms in Tandridge and Lewis lending some of their youngest livestock to local schools, with playing fields making a perfect temporary home.
It's about developing the whole child. We have a responsibility to not just pigeonhole the children into certain aspects of learning. We want to develop their talents. You know, we've got Plumpton College close to us here, which offers all sorts of agricultural courses as the children get older. If this is the area that they want to move into, then yeah, we could be the start of that journey.
This week-long project has involved 5 primary schools across Sussex and Surrey, allowing over 1,000 children to get their first up-close experience of farming and all the sights and smells that go with it.
Make sure she's got some hay.
The charity behind the initiative says they hope to double the number of schools involved in the South East next year.
Well done, Lexi.
If we can get a few people interested, a few youngsters interested in looking into the industry further, whether it's with the animals or whether it's with crops, it's got to be great.
And after 5 days up close with the lambs, what's the children's verdict?
They're fluffy, they make carpets, and they're really hungry. I like to stroke them. I like feeding them.
What's so good about that?
I like getting licked on my hands. I'll probably say when they poo, because then people get to clean it up and it's really fun.
A volunteer then for even the muckiest of jobs, a sign perhaps that bringing the farmyard to the playground is already paying off. Kit Bradshaw, ITV News, Crawley Down.
Not sure about that bit at the end.
No.
You don't want to do the clearing up?
No, I don't like smelly stuff.
No, let's just move on to the weather. Pip is here. What is happening? It's warm, it's cold, it's warm. Where are we?
I know, but you know, spring is a very fickle season. But while we're choosing between winter woolies and summer t-shirts, nature is taking the fickle season in its stride. I've got some gorgeous pictures coming into the weather inbox. Let's take a look at the first one. You'll love this one, Matt.
Lovely lambs.
Keeping the lamb theme going. How about this?
lovely.
They're the gorgeous pair. They were snapped by John and Jean, enjoying a few welcome rays of sunshine in Sussex. And it's a particularly busy time of year for our garden birds. Nest building in full swing. I think you'll agree these blue tits are off to a flying start with some pretty 5-star accommodation there, courtesy of John Buckner. Meanwhile, back in Sussex, Judy Hewlett sent us this snap. This is the first signet of the season for this proud pair of black swans, and no wonder, what a cutie. These grey lag geese already have a few more heads to count. Patricia Warren was enjoying a picnic when she spotted the family of 9 marching through. Of course, this spring has brought its fair share of frosty mornings, and perhaps still a few to come. Ian Gray spotted this little wren, one of our tiniest resident birds, puffed up against a chilly morning. But of course, with warmer days, the butterflies come out, and Bill Hutchins snapped this beautiful brimstone.
But Pip, what is going on? Because we're confused. Yesterday we were told it was getting cold. Now you're going to tell us it's getting nice.
Yeah, well, it is going to get a little bit colder, but only for a couple of days. By the time it gets to Sunday and into Monday, there are signs that winds will take a southerly turn. We could well be back up into the high teens during the early part of next week, but still unsettled with it. You can't have it all.
So it's going to be nice for Easter. That's the big question, isn't it?
Fingers crossed. That's all I'll say now.
Okay. Well, let's get your forecast now. Here's Pip.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
All looking a little unsettled still over the next few days then. Still some further showers or longer spells of rain, and quite breezy with it too. But signs of a change as we head into the new week, with temperatures gradually on the rise once again. Out there at the moment, there's still a few showers on the go through this evening. These gradually replaced by an area of more persistent rain from the west as the night wears on. And temperature-wise, with the cloud and rain, comfortably above freezing. So it should be a frost-free night all round. And then tomorrow morning, well, any lingering cloud and rain will soon pull away from the south coast there. And thereafter, a pretty quiet day weather-wise. A lot of dry weather, more in the way of sunshine than we've had today. But it will still feel pretty chilly. Highs tomorrow 11 or 12 Celsius, add on the breeze, and feeling cooler still. High tide times for tomorrow then for Hastings there, 3:05 in the morning and around 3:30 in the afternoon. And then through the latter stages of tomorrow, overnight into Friday, I think really a repeat performance. So we'll see another area of rain moving through the English Channel, just skirting the very far south coast there, hopefully clearing most places by dawn, with another largely dry day to round off the working week.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
We'll take that. And you're up to date in the southeast. In just a moment here, the ITV Evening News continues. That's with Mary Nightingale.
I'm back with the late updates just after 10:30 this evening. But for now, from all the team, thank you very much for watching. We're back tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.